every day our research team puts together lots of different pieces of research for us. We do almost 50 hours of research a day. It's crazy. Today, the boys decided to take a look at which quarter is best for premium sellers. Think about this. Q1, bullish. Q2, bullish. Q3, bullish. Q4, bullish. That's what everybody always talks. But if you were to guess, and you've been doing this a long time, what quarter of the year do you think is best for premium sellers?
I'm gonna take a gander here and say the third, only because I think that's when volatility has expanded the most. So I'm gonna piggyback that the expanding vol has helped premium sellers. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the answer. Did you know the answer? Did you look?
I know the answer to this question. I didn't have to look. I knew the answer before they did this study.
Excuse me.
I'm a student of the market. I've been doing this for my entire life. I can tell you the answer before we did the research, but
oh my God, if bullshit were dollars, here we go. What is the answer then? You can save me the next 20 minutes.
I haven't read the takeaways from this piece, but
so then give me your answer then. Good. I'm glad you didn't read it.
Okay.
I'll take your word. What do you got?
My answer is going to be that there's no such thing.
Well, there has to be such a thing.
My answer is going to be that it's a trick question. I know these researchers, they are a little sneaky that way. And I know,
but there has to be one that is more than the other just by the number of occurrences. There's going to be something where volatility, how are they measuring it? By the contraction of volatility?
Well, let's go.
All right, let's take a look at it.
We are now 1 week into the final month of the third quarter, the July SEP quarter. And part of the fiscal year's 4 3-month periods used to assess financial health and performance. These quarterly divisions help premium sellers make informed decisions on risk, timing, product customization, strategy, all the above. Which quarter is the most favorable for premium sellers? And what are the yearly patterns of trends, challenges, and opportunities? Do they stay consistent or do they change? Let's see. Tony thinks it's Q3. I'm thinking it's...
Well, I had to come up with an answer. Like I said, I have no idea.
That's fine. That's fine. I think it's a trick question. 20 years of research, managed to 21 days, looked at the strength computed in 4 quarters, the historical performance, the ratio of P&L, CVAR, win rate, worst loss, buying power, and premium collected, compared the results in different quarters. So this table shows how within different financial quarters, different metrics vary. A quick observation is that the VIX, IV rank, and BP and premium collected are in the same range, pretty much the same for all quarters. However, the ratio of P&L and CVAR risk are different, particularly for the Q1, which behaves different from other quarters. So what they're saying from this first slide is that everything is very similar, but the ratio of P&L and CVAR is a little different in the first quarter. So let's take a look.
Well, it's a lot different in the first quarter. It's a negative number compared to a positive number to everything else. Go back one slide, John, please, if you don't mind. It's negative 2.5% versus a positive 10+%.
So that would suggest that the first quarter is
more bullish, right?
It would just suggest that the first quarter
goes outside the expected move, which means volatility is
right. It would suggest the first quarter.
Third quarter is 9.5% because that typically has the highest implied volatility. So your CVAR ratio, you're allowed to collect more premium. It's the lowest.
Yeah,
that's the way I read it.
Based on this, the main takeaway from this first slide is that your worst quarter is probably the first quarter. Doesn't say which one's your best because they're all pretty much the same. It suggests your worst quarter is probably the first quarter based on 20 years of history. Particularly, the following table shows the same study but excludes the data for the COVID period. So I'm not sure why they would exclude it, but I guess just because of the quick down move. So quick insight from this table is that in all quarters, we have similar ranges. This suggests that like in the previous table, the results for Q1 were affected by the financial crisis that COVID delivered in 2020.
Yeah, and interesting to know. I see what they're doing here, but you can't take out...
They tried to normalize it. They tried to normalize it for COVID, but I don't think you can do that.
Right. That's like me saying, well, if I didn't trade ABC stock today, which I have all my losses in, I'd have had a great day.
I think they were just showing you why Q1.
Yeah, I get it.
Now, the reason for doing this is that I don't want the takeaway from this to be that Q1 is worse. The reason that they're showing this is that Q1 is basically the same as the other quarters. It just so happened in 2020, it dragged down the results.
Yep.
That's all they're saying is don't get all hung up on Q1 being the weakest quarter, because it's not. So let's take a look on the QQQ as well for a better understanding to see if it behaves the same way as the SPY. Of course, the answer is it is. As for the SPY, the Qs behave this exact same way. And Q1 is different from the other quarters. And in Q1, they had the same issue because of everything that happened in COVID. So Q1 was negative and all the other quarters were positive.
Right. I mean, the Qs are highly correlated to even the S&Ps. Let's just call it 90%, 85%. So
yep.
No surprise there.
Yep, totally. This table shows the same thing in the Qs, but this time we took out COVID again, and you can see that it normalizes everything and almost makes it all, it almost makes it all make sense. I'll leave it there.
It makes them all the same. I get it.
Yeah, it makes them all the same. And again, showing all quarters are basically the same, which is what that was my original take. Let's go next slide.
Yep.
So the takeaways, the research findings indicate that aside from periods of financial crisis, employing consistent strategies generally produces stable outcomes regardless of the quarter or the time of the year. For premium sellers, this suggests that maintaining consistent strategies throughout the year can lead to predictable revenue and possibly reflect customer loyalty. However, it is essential to remain resilient and adaptable, especially during economic downturns, to ensure long-term success. I actually like that study. It covered a lot of bases.
It did cover a lot of bases, and it basically says that, like you suggested from the very beginning, that there really is no one time to do anything. You have to be consistent with your overall strategies. And I try to tell people, as long as you have forget about direction for a quick second, as long as your position has a 65% pop on entry, which is the only thing that you can control, and they can only do that with strategies by using options. I think that's the key thing to stay in here and not try to cherry pick what you think is the best time to do something, which is nice